the taxation in mutual fund? Yeah, let's understand this. So in mutual fund, one is, as I told you, we have what is called as dividend tax. Yeah. Now, fortunately, it is passed on to you. So it is as per your slab now, right? Whatever dividend you get based on your slab. What do I mean by this slab? If you are in a 10%, you will pay 10% tax. If you are in a 20%, you pay 20%. Or if you are in a 30%, you pay it is 5%. Yeah. 5, 20 or 30. That's what you will pay tax. Yeah. So this is on my dividend. Yeah. So dividend tax is as per slab. Then we have what is called as short-term capital gains. I'm writing it in short form, STCG. And you have what is called as long-term capital gains. Yeah. For this, let us understand. Just give me a minute. Yeah. For this, let's say I have equity fund, I have debt funds. Yeah. I have both these funds. Yeah. Now let us understand what is this definition of short-term capital gains for equity and debt funds. Yeah. For equity, if you sell before 1 year, it is called as short-term capital gains. For debt, if you sell before 3 years, it is called as short-term capital gains. Yeah. Now, so if you are going to sell before 1 year, it is short-term capital gains for equity. And if you sell before 3 years, it is short-term capital gains for debt. Now, what is the taxation? Let's say you have sold it before 1 year. Now, here you have to pay 15%. I'm just keeping the surcharge, etc., separately. Otherwise, please add it just to get you an idea, right? So, the minimum tax you'll be paying is 15%. Whereas, if you sell a debt fund before 3 years, it is as per slab. What do I mean by slab? The same thing, right? Based on whatever tax bracket you are, you have to pay the tax, right? So how does it work? Let's say you sold it and made a gain of, let's say, 25,000, right? Now this 25,000 will be added to your salary, to your income, basically. Yeah. And when it is added to your income, whichever slab you are, you will pay tax. That is what I mean by as per slab. Yeah. This is on the short-term capital gains. Yeah, please remember this. Definition of short-term capital gain for equity is less than 1 year, less than 3 years for debt. What is the tax rate? 15% for equity and the slab rate. What do you mean by slab rate? Either it is 5, 20 or 30. Yeah. Then we have what is called as long-term capital gain. Yeah. Then we have what is called as long-term capital gain. Yeah. So long-term capital gain, what is the definition if you look at it? Long-term capital gain. If you sell it after 1 year, it is long-term capital gain. If you sell it after 3 years, it is long-term capital gain for debt. Now, what happens here is, if it is greater than 1 year, you can reduce 1 lakh from the gain and you have to pay on the balance 10% tax. What do I mean by this? If I had made a profit of 2 lakh rupees in equity by selling it after 1 year, it is across all the equity fund. It is not for one scheme. Please remember it. Across all the schemes. If you have sold 3 equity schemes after 1 year, so the sum total is what I am saying. So if the sum total is 2 lakh profit you made, you can reduce 1 lakh from that. On that remaining 1 lakh, you pay 10% tax, which is 10,000 plus all that surcharge and everything. Yeah. Though this is how it works for equity. Yeah. This is how it works for equity. Now we come to debt. In debt, there is a different taxation. How it works is you have a long-term capital gains at 20% with indexation benefit. This is a tax rate for debt funds. Yeah. This is why it is very useful for FD, because in FD you don't have this clause. So somebody invests in an FD for 3 years, every year he will pay 30% tax on the interest income if he is in 30% bracket. Whereas by investing in a mutual fund, he gets this indexation benefit. and he has to pay only 20% after indexation. So I will just quickly explain what is indexation. Yeah, I'll quickly explain what is indexation. Just give me a minute. All these are this taxation rates, everything you will get it in our brochure also. Yeah, if you ask our RM, he'll be able to give the tax rates. Everything is available. You can take it from him. I'm just explaining the concept. Yeah. Now, what do I mean by this indexation? I have to see this, right? Say, for example, let's say today we are in 2021 February. Yeah, February 2021. Yeah. Let's say somebody had invested in February 18 in a debt fund. Yeah. Same date, let's keep it. Yeah. Right. Now, this is year. I'm talking of year, not date. Yeah. This is year. Now, he has completed 3 years. Correct. Now, let's say he invested 1 lakh rupees. Yeah. And now he has got, let's say, 1,25,000 rupees. Yeah. Now, this 25,000 is the capital gain. Whether it is exactly the capital gain, that is what we need to understand. Yeah. So for this, what they do is they will first go and say, because you sold it in February 2021. Yeah, there is a number called as CII, yeah, which is nothing but cost of inflation index. Cost of inflation index. Yeah, this is provided by the income tax department. You Google, you will get it for all the years. Yeah, till 2021. Yeah. So how I'll do it here is, now what is indexation means? See, you invested 3 years before 1 lakh. So first I have to find out what is the value of 1 lakh today. So how do I find that value of 1 lakh? I will take this 1 lakh, yeah, and multiply by the cost of inflation index for 2021 and divided by cost of inflation index for 1718, right? So now let's say this is, I mean, I'll give you a number roughly, it is 900, let's say, yeah, and this is 700, let's say, yeah. So this 1 lakh multiplied by 900 by 700, whatever it is, right? Just let us assume. I just explained you how to do it. Let's say it comes to 1,20,000. I'm just giving an example. I'm not doing any calculation. So please don't tell me 900 by 700 into 1 is not 120. Just to understand, I have given this, right? Now, as per this, your value of 1 lakh should be 1,20,000. And how much you sold? You sold at 1,25,000, which means you have made a gain of only 5,000 rupees. So on this, you will pay 20% tax. So your tax is only 1,000 rupees. Whereas if you had invested in a FD, every year you would have paid on the 8,000, roughly I'm saying, yeah, on the 8,000 rupees, you would have paid 30% tax. Yeah, which is roughly 2,400 into 3, 7,200 you would have paid as tax. Whereas by coming into a mutual fund, you are paying only 1,000 rupees tax. This is the biggest advantage for all the HNI clients. The post-tax return of a debt fund is much, much superior to your FD rate. So all the HNIs who are in a 30% bracket, or if they want to invest for short term of 3 years, you should suggest only the debt funds, not FDs. Yeah, that's why understanding the taxation is very, very important. Yeah, so spend some time. If you have any doubts, you can always get it clarified. But understand this, very, very important. Yeah, and then we are coming to asset allocation. Yeah, what is basically asset allocation? Asset allocation is nothing but putting your money in debt, equity, gold, and all the asset classes. Yeah, that is what we mean by asset allocation. So, what we suggest normally is you should always do an asset allocation, even if the goal is long term. For example, somebody comes to you saying that I want to invest for 15 years. Yeah, and he says I can do 10,000 rupees a month. Yeah, just because he said 15 years, you cannot jump that I should put all this 10,000 in equity. So if you ask me, maybe I will put 60% in equity, which means 6,000 rupees. Yeah. I may put 3,000 rupees in debt and 1,000 rupees in gold. This is what I mean by asset allocation. The advantage here is when market crashes, you don't lose all the money because all men at one point of time, all the three asset classes will not underperform, right? All the three asset classes will not underperform. That's where, especially when markets are such high level, you should always practice asset allocation, which means what? Splitting the money in at least three asset class, if not three, at least two asset classes. You are not putting all the eggs in one basket, right? You would have heard this term. This is exactly what we are saying, right? Now, asset allocation along with rebalancing is the key thing to manage your client's portfolio. What is rebalancing? I'll quickly say this. Let's say I got a 10% return next year, right? So which means on my 6,000, I'll have 6,600. Let's say I got, or let's say 20% return I got, right? So it has become 7,200. Yeah. Now this debt has given me, let's say 3,100 and gold has given me 10%, 1,100, right? Now, if you see this ratio is not 60, 30 and 10. So what do I do? I will book this profit to bring it back to this ratio of 30, 60 and 10. This is what I call it as rebalancing. This, if you do it every year, the client will be able to achieve his goal easily. That's where we say always practice two things. Do a proper asset allocation. And how the asset allocation is then, how do I decide whether I should put 60% in equity or not based on the time horizon and the risk appetite. If somebody is willing to take risk, maybe I'll make it 70, 20 and 10 also. Yeah. So these things we have to sit with Mr. Shankar and then probably understand it more, because as you keep doing it for your clients, that's where you will understand it more.